Hi, this is Cheryl Gallant, your Conservative Member of Parliament for the country fair-filled riding of Renfrew-Nipissing-Pembroke. The socialists running this government never did grasp the concept of herd immunity when it came to COVID, but their policies are all about culling the herd. The government has set arbitrary emissions limits target dates based on easy-to-remember jingles. Instead, they should be pacing progress as the capacity to reduce emissions emerges. Otherwise, livestock and grain farmers will be forced to cut back production, cull their herds. It's encouraging to hear a growing number of my colleagues speaking out against the tenets of Agenda 2030. It's the sequel to Agenda 21, the supposedly non-binding United Nations Action Plan for Sustainable Development. It was born out of the Earth Summit held in Rio de Janeiro, Brazil, back in 1992. And whereas Agenda 21 brought economically unsustainable wind and solar energy generation to Ontario, Agenda 2030 appears to be focused on ensuring global poverty in all its forms. From food insecurity to lockdowns on freedom, we're detecting the flavor of Agenda 2030, and it tastes like crickets. Human dignity, the rule of law, justice, equality, and non-discrimination are remnants of the past. Governments are enshrining their narratives by ending the freedom for citizens to make our own decisions on what can be said, to what we're permitted to eat. Ontarians are well versed in how government restricts use of property until it's rendered useless. We learned that about McGuinty's No Place to Grow Act and Wynn's implementation of it. With this next agenda, we're seeing attacks on our food security. Governments around the world have adopted socialist policies using the fear of climate change and the end of the world to rationalize their actions. After slapping more taxes onto fossil fuels and tariffs onto fertilizer, which has already doubled in price over last year, the feds now want farmers to cut emissions by 30% more. Now, the new villains are the nitrogen-based molecules, such as ammonia, nitrogen oxides, and nitrous oxide. Farmers have already been reducing the amount of fertilizer they apply using a targeted approach with the aid of technology. For example, soil samples are taken and drones flown over the fields with weed recognition software. The soil conditions and weed locations are geomapped, then uploaded to the tractor's navigation system, so fertilizer and pesticides are spread only where they're needed. Now, the reductions in emissions already achieved are not going to be taken into consideration. Left with higher costs and less produce to sell, grain farmers will call it quits like so many other providers have done. As more Canadians learn about the Trudeau's Liberals' plan to hurt farmers, the government is resorting to its favorite trick, spreading misinformation and disinformation by claiming the Conservatives and the media are spreading misinformation. Conservatives have been clear. A 30% reduction in emissions by 2030 is an artificial target. It's not based on anything more than it's a number which is easy for Trudeau to remember. Farmers are telling us that there is no way to achieve this target without lowering crop yields. Take a look at what's happening in Europe. Canadian farmers are where the Dutch farmers were in 2019 with the new nitrogen oxide limits slapped on them. Look where they are now. Food shortages, empty grocery store shelves, atrocious food prices. That's a snapshot of what will happen in Canada a few years from now. The target was set by bureaucrats working for the Environment Minister. When agricultural organizations were called in for consultations, they were told the new limits. Bureaucrats are not experts on food production. You know who the real experts are on food production? Farmers. Farmers are already reducing emissions and growing crops which absorb carbon dioxide. We need a government that'll listen to the real experts. Visit CherylGallant.com/fertilizer to share your views on the government's plan. Over a year ago, I made a video about the Liberals' three-part plan to control the internet. At the time, I said the Liberals' real agenda wasn't to bail out their legacy media buddies. That was just a bonus. The real goal was to have government influence and control the algorithms which power Google, YouTube, Twitter, Facebook, Amazon, Netflix, and thousands more. Now the government is openly admitting it. Recently, the chair of the CRTC said the government's Bill C-11 gives him the power to tell internet companies how they operate their algorithms. After the government faced significant blowback from across the political spectrum for its online harms proposal to create a new bureaucracy, the government is now pitching the idea to regulate the internet with algorithms. Last week, we also learned how a new glitch in the ArriveCan app's algorithm caused 10,000 Canadians to receive unconstitutional orders to quarantine. One glitch in one government algorithm resulted in 10,000 Canadians being illegally detained by the Trudeau Liberal government. Canadians need more accountability and transparency about the role these powerful algorithms play on the impact of their daily lives. What we do not need is an incompetent, unethical, corrupt Liberal government abusing algorithms to advance its political interests. As regular viewers know, last summer I sponsored an e-petition put forth by a constituent. The petition called on the government to issue a Platinum Jubilee medal to honor the Queen's 75th anniversary of her coronation. There will never be another Platinum Jubilee in our lifetimes, if ever again. As was tradition in Canada to celebrate the Queen, we give medals to outstanding Canadians. Over the last few difficult years, thousands of Canadians went above and beyond to help one another. Honoring their service with a medal would have been the right thing to do. But the Liberals do not like history or tradition. They do not like the Queen very much. They ignored the petition, and the first time in our country's history failed to issue a Jubilee medal. Now, the Liberals may not like traditions or Her Majesty, but they apparently do like medals. That's why they've gone and ordered a special COVID medal for every bureaucrat who works at the Public Health Agency of Canada. The bureaucrats at the agency who shut down Canada's world-leading pandemic surveillance early warning network are getting medals. The bureaucrats at the agency who warned against using face masks at the start of the pandemic are getting medals. A nurse who work double shift get nothing. Personal support workers who were the only points of contact for many lockdown seniors get nothing. No recognition for the thousands of people who volunteered in their communities. Medals are a symbol of what a country values. Medals for bureaucrats, but nothing for regular Canadians, is a perfect symbol of what the Trudeau Liberals value. Live from Ottawa, this is Cheryl Gallant.